I still hear the soft tapping from beneath that bed sometimes, and I can't forget the moment I realized it wasn't coming from the house. It was coming from him. I've been a patrol officer for years in a quiet county most people couldn't find on a map. Nights were usually slow. Empty roads, the hum of tires on asphalt. The kind of silence that makes your ears ring if you focus too long. But every once in a while, something breaks that silence in a way that sticks with you. This was one of those nights. I was driving down a narrow back road, no street lights, just woods pressing in on both sides like walls. My headlights barely cut through the darkness. Then I saw it, a car sitting off to the right, half on the grass, driver's door hanging open. No hazard lights, no movement. I slowed down, already reaching for the radio. As I got closer, I saw someone step out from the driver's side. They stood still for a second. Then they ran straight into the woods. I didn't even think. I called it in and stepped out, flashlight cutting through the trees. My hand rested on my holster, not pulling, just ready. "Hey, police!" I shouted. Nothing. Then I smelled it. It hit me before I even reached the car. Thick, sour, like something that had been sitting too long in the heat. I tried to ignore it and looked inside. The seats were empty, but the passenger side was covered in crumpled paper towels. Dark, soaked. I didn't understand at first. My brain didn't want to. Then the light hit them just right. Red. All of it. That's when I heard a branch snap behind me. I spun around so fast my shoulder ached. "Show yourself!" I yelled. Silence. Then, from deeper in the woods, a voice. Low. Calm. Not hurt. Not scared. I couldn't make out the words. My fingers tightened around my flashlight. My heartbeat felt loud enough to give me away. "Are you injured?" I asked. No answer. But that wasn't even the worst part. I went back to the car, forcing myself to look closer. My gloves were already on. I leaned into the back seat, moving aside the soaked paper. Something heavy shifted beneath them. My stomach dropped before I even uncovered it. My hands were shaking. I didn't want to look. I really didn't. But I had to. It was a hand. Human. Severed clean, wrapped like someone tried to hide it or carry it. I stumbled back, nearly losing my footing. My radio slipped for a second before I grabbed it and called for backup. My voice didn't sound like mine anymore. When they arrived, we searched the woods for hours. Dogs, lights, everything. Nothing. No blood trail, no footprints we could follow, just trees and silence. The car had no plates. Stolen. The hand? No match. No missing persons tied to it. No DNA hits. It was like whoever ran into those woods never existed. And sometimes I wonder if they were still out there, watching us the whole time. But that wasn't the only time something felt wrong. A few months later, I was assigned to track down someone who had disappeared from a monitoring program. Last signal pinged at a house on the edge of town. The place looked off the second we pulled up. No lights except one faint glow inside. My partner knocked. I stayed off to the side, watching the windows. The door creaked open and a woman stood there. She didn't look at him. She looked directly at me. I froze. There was no way she could see me from where I was standing. No windows, no reflections. She let us in anyway. The inside of the house felt wrong. Not messy exactly, just empty. No TV, no electronics, barely any furniture. The air felt thick, like it hadn't moved in years. We asked about the person we were looking for. The woman just mumbled something and then dropped to the floor. Hands and knees. She started crawling, calling out a name over and over again in this strained, desperate voice. My partner and I exchanged a look. Something wasn't right, but we kept searching. And that's when things started shifting. I'd leave a room and end up somewhere I didn't recognize, a hallway that shouldn't be there, a door I didn't remember passing before. It didn't make sense. At one point, I turned around and she was right behind me. I didn't hear her move. I swear I didn't. My chest tightened. Every instinct told me to leave, but we hadn't found who we came for. We kept going. Upstairs, we found a door that wouldn't open at first. It felt sealed shut, like it hadn't been touched in years. When we forced it open, it wasn't a bedroom. It was an attic. Dust, insulation, one hanging bulb swaying slightly, even though there was no breeze. I felt something then. Not fear exactly, something deeper, like we weren't supposed to be there. We searched for what felt like forever, but when we checked the time later, it had only been 20 minutes. As we left, I looked back. She was standing in the doorway now, perfectly still, watching us. And that wasn't even the worst part.